Welcome to the deep dive. We take one key resource, break it down, and pull out the essential knowledge for you, fast and thorough.
Yeah, get you right to the core ideas.
Exactly. And today, we're diving into a really influential one, Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki.
Ah, yes. The subtitle kind of says it all, doesn't it? What the rich teach their kids about money that the poor and middle class do not.
It really does. It's known as this #1 personal finance book, and it definitely ruffled some feathers, challenged how a lot of people think about money.
Absolutely. And the whole book hinges on this contrast, right, between his two dads.
Right. His actual dad, who was highly educated but um, struggled financially, the poor dad.
And his friend Mike's dad. Less formal education, a dropout actually, but became very wealthy, the rich dad.
And seeing those two totally different perspectives side by side, that's what got Kiyosaki thinking differently about money himself.
Yeah, it forced him to question things, develop his own path.
So for you listening, if you want to grasp these big financial ideas quickly, without getting, totally overwhelmed, and maybe have some of those aha moments.
This is your shortcut. We're boiling down those core philosophies for you.
Okay, let's start with that main contrast, the two dads. How different were their core beliefs?
Fundamentally different. The poor dad often repeated that saying, the love of money is the root of all evil.
Heard that one
We
before.
all have, right? But the rich dad, he flipped it. He said, the lack of money is the root of all evil.
Whoa. Okay, that's a strong counterpoint.
It really is. It immediately makes you stop and think. It's not saying money itself is bad, but maybe the problems that come from not understanding it or not having enough, that's the real issue.
So it challenges your own assumptions right off the bat.
Definitely. And it wasn't just that one line. Their advice on everything was like opposite.
Like what? Give us an example.
Well, the poor dad stressed getting good grades to get a safe, secure job, build a great resume.
Standard advice, pretty much.
Totally standard. But the rich dad, he was focused on building businesses, creating financial plans, basically creating jobs for other people.
That's a huge mindset shift.
Yeah.
From employee to, essentially, employer or creator.
Exactly. So if you're listening and you're maybe focused just on climbing the corporate ladder, the rich dad view might nudge you to think, how could I generate income outside my main job?
Doesn't mean quit tomorrow, right?
No, not at all. It could be exploring a side project, freelancing maybe, or just starting to map out a longer-term idea for your own thing. Small steps.
Okay, makes sense. And what about saving versus investing? They differed there, too.
Oh, big time. Poor dad emphasized saving, put money away. Sounds responsible, right?
Yeah, seems like the safe thing to do.
But rich dad said saving is important, but you must invest those savings. Otherwise, inflation just eats away at it. You need to make your money work for you.
So the action step there is learn about investing, even if you start small.
Precisely. Move beyond just accumulating cash in a savings account. Learn the basics of stocks, bonds, real estate, whatever fits you. Start putting some money to work, even a tiny bit.
Okay, and this idea of financial self-reliance, how did they see that?
Poor dad was big on do it yourself. Don't rely on anyone financially.
Independence, strong value.
It is, but rich dad saw a potential weakness there too. He thought too much self-reliance could actually hold you back. He valued financial competence, but understood collaboration, leveraging other people's skills, their money sometimes.
Interesting. So for us, maybe that means being more open to getting advice from planners or even partnering on deals.
Could be. Don't feel like you have to figure everything out alone. Sometimes the smartest move is using expert help or joining forces.
These differences really show how your core beliefs about money shape your path, don't they?
Hugely. And the book argues a lot of those beliefs get set very early, often without us realizing it.
Which brings us to the point that money isn't really taught in schools.
Yeah, that's a central theme. Kiyosaki argues we learn about money mostly from our parents.
Makes sense.
So, if your parents were poor or middle class, chances are you inherited their financial programming, as he calls it.
The book says, what can poor parents tell their child about money? They simply say, stay in school and study hard.
Right. And the kid might get great grades, but still have that same underlying financial mindset.
So you might have to consciously unlearn some things and seek out new financial knowledge.
Exactly. Schools teach you how to be a good employee, get professional skills.
But not how to manage the money you earn. Financial literacy is often missing.
Totally. You see brilliant, doctors, lawyers, accountants even, who are amazing at their jobs but still struggle financially.
Yeah.
The book even kind of implies that financially illiterate leaders can contribute to bigger problems like national debt. It really puts the onus on the individual.
So take charge of your own financial education. What are some practical ways to do that?
Well, reading books like this one, obviously, attending workshops or seminars, finding mentors, people who've actually done what you want to do financially.
Be proactive about learning.
Yeah, make it a conscious choice. Don't just rely on what you picked up by osmosis.
Kiyosaki's own early attempts at making money really illustrate these lessons, don't they? Even the failures.
Oh, definitely. The story about trying to make counterfeit nickels out of lead, hilarious, but they learned something.
And the toothpaste tubes, trying to melt them down.
Yeah, a bit of a mess. But again, they identified a potential resource, tried to do something with it, action.
And even though they failed, the poor dad actually gave some great advice then. He said, you're only poor if you give up.
Yeah. The most important thing is that you did something. Keep going. Don't quit. That's powerful.
It really is. Take action, learn from it, don't be afraid to stumble.
That resilience is key. Then there was the job working for Mike's dad, the rich dad, for like 10 cents an hour.
That seemed brutal. Felt like a test.
It absolutely was a test. And the lesson was huge. It was about the difference between working for money.
Like slogging away for that 10 cents.
Yeah, and having money work for you. When Kiyosaki wanted to quit, Rich Dad said, basically, school teaches you to work for money. I'll teach you how to have money work for you if you want to learn.
That's a foundational idea in the book.
Yeah.
So how do we start making that shift? Making money work for us?
It comes back to acquiring assets, things that generate income passively.
Right.
Could be dividend stocks, rental income, maybe creating something online that sells. Anything where money comes in without you trading direct hours for it. Start small, build those streams.
Got it. The book also talks about fear, right? How fear keeps people stuck in jobs they don't love.
Oh, yeah. Big time. Fear of not paying bills, fear of getting fired, fear of starting over. It's paralyzing for a lot of people.
Keeps them working just to quiet that fear, even if they're unhappy.
Exactly. The book calls it becoming a slave to money, always chasing the next paycheck, just to feel safe for a moment.
Which leads right into the rat race concept. Can you break that down simply?
Think about a hamster wheel. You run and run, work hard, get paid, pay bills, maybe buy something nice.
And then the month ends and you're right back at the start, needing to run again.
Precisely. You're working hard, but not really getting ahead financially, just staying afloat. The book uses an analogy of workers looking forward to tiny vacations and
It
pensions.
sounds familiar. That feeling of treading water.
It does. And the book says our emotions, fear, and also desire or greed keep us on that wheel.
So
Fear keeps you working, needing that paycheck. But then desire picks in. You want nicer things, a bigger house, a new car. So you spend the extra money you make, often on liability.
things that take money out of your pocket.
Right. And now your expenses are higher, so you need to work even harder. It's a cycle. Rich Dad says fear keeps them in this trap, hoping the fear will go away. But it doesn't.
So the key is to become aware of those emotional triggers, fear and desire.
Yeah, and try to make financial choices based on logic, not just gut reaction. Pause before a big purchase. Ask, is this really an asset or just feeding a short-term desire?
Which brings us squarely to the book's #1 rule. Know the difference between an asset and a liability.
This is it, the absolute bedrock, simple definitions. An asset puts money in my pocket.
That's okay? Like rental income, dividends.
Right, and a liability takes money out of my pocket.
Mortgage payments, car loans, credit card debt.
Exactly. The rich focus on buying assets. The poor and middle class often buy liabilities they think are assets.
Like the house. That's often the controversial one.
It is. Culturally, we call our home our biggest asset. But the book argues if it costs you money every month, mortgage, taxes, insurance, repairs, it's functioning like a liability.
So as income goes up, people buy bigger houses, take on more debt.
And their expenses rise, keeping them trapped. It makes them vulnerable if they lose their job. The takeaway isn't don't own a home, but think critically about it financially. Is it building wealth or just costing you?
Maybe focus on paying it down faster, or think about real estate for income generation next time.
Could be. It's about shifting perspective. So, if assets are the key, how does the book define actual wealth? Is it just having a lot of stuff?
No, it's different. It uses Buckminster Fuller's definition. Wealth is basically, if I stopped working today, how long could I survive?
Ah, so it's about sustainability, how long your passive income can cover your expenses.
Exactly. It's not just net worth, which might include stuff that doesn't produce income. It's about cash flow.
Can your assets pay your bills without you actively working?
Right. The book gives an example. If your assets generate $1,000 a month, but your expenses are $2,000, you're not there yet.
But if your assets generate $2,000 a month, covering your $2,000 expenses.
Then, according to this definition, you're wealthy, financially independent,
So the goal is building that asset column until its income covers your lifestyle.
which circles back to financial literacy. You need to understand this stuff.
Absolutely. Your job skills earn you money. Your financial literacy determines if you keep it and grow it.
Lots of people work hard but don't get ahead because they just don't understand cash flow, assets, liabilities.
They don't mind their own business, as the book puts it.
What does minding your own business mean here?
It means your business is building your asset column. Your job pays the bills, sure, but your focus, your business, should be acquiring those income-producing assets. Don't just work for someone else your whole life.
So dedicate time and energy, even small amounts of money, specifically to buying or creating assets.
That's the idea. Start building your own financial engine.
Okay, so what kind of assets does the book specifically mention?
It gives a few categories. Businesses that don't need you there day to day because they have managers.
Okay, passive business ownership.
Right. Real estate, rental properties,
Hmm.
paper assets, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, things that pay dividends or interest,
Mm-hmm.
and even intellectual property like royalties from books or music, if that's your thing.
Now, it does offer a caution about starting your own active business, right?
Yeah, it acknowledges it's tough, high failure rate. Says don't jump in unless you're really passionate and prepared for the hard work and risk. Often better to keep the day job while you build other passive assets first.
Smart. And how the rich buy luxuries, that's different too.
Totally. The book says the rich buy luxuries last. They use the income from their assets to pay for the fancy car or the big vacation.
So the assets pay for the toys.
Exactly. Whereas the poor and middle class often buy luxuries first, maybe on credit, trying to look rich, but just digging a deeper hole of liability.
So delay gratification, build the income engine first, then enjoy the rewards it produces.
That's the strategy.
Okay, let's shift to a topic that can be a bit sensitive. Corporations and taxes. What's the book's angle here?
Well, the rich dad character has a, let's say, provocative view. He sees the tax the rich idea as often backfiring and hitting the middle class harder.
How so?
He argues the truly rich don't just earn salaries like employees. They use legal structures, specifically corporations, to shelter income and minimize taxes.
So a corporation isn't just a big building, it's a legal tool.
Exactly. It's a legal file folder, essentially. And the book points out that corporations often have different tax rules.
Like potentially lower tax rates.
Sometimes, yes. And crucially, the ability to pay expenses before taxes are calculated. An employee earns, gets taxed, then spends what's left. A corporation often earns, spends on business expenses, and then gets taxed on the profit.
That's a big difference in flow.
It can be huge. The point isn't necessarily everyone needs a corporation, but more about understanding that the financial game has different rules, and education about taxes and legal structures is really important.
So get smarter about how the system works to make more informed choices for yourself.
Precisely. Knowledge is power here. And this ties into what the book calls financial IQ.
Okay, what makes up financial IQ according to Kiyosaki?
It's basically a mix of 4 key skills. First, accounting. You got to understand the numbers, read financial statements.
Makes sense.
Second, investing the science of making money make money. Third, understanding market supply and demand, how things are valued.
Okay.
And fourth, the law, knowing the rules around taxes, corporations, protecting your assets. Synergy between these 4 is financial intelligence.
So continuous learning across those areas.
Yep. Build that IQ.
The book mentions the Cash A Flow board game. How does that help build financial IQ?
It's designed as a teaching tool. It simulates managing money, buying assets, dealing with expenses. It makes you practice making financial decisions in a fun, low-stakes way.
So you learn by doing, but without risking real cash.
Exactly. It helps you see the interplay between your income statement and balance sheet. And the book says games reflect your real behavior. They give you instant feedback, just like the real world does with your finances, only faster and safer.
Interesting. So playing it could reveal your own habits and blind spots.
That's the idea, and help you try out different strategies, get creative financially.
The book also talks about creating your own luck. How does financial IQ play into that?
Well, when you have that financial intelligence, you start seeing opportunities others miss. You can analyze deals better, understand risk differently. You're not just waiting for luck, you're recognizing and creating opportunities.
Can you give an example from the book?
There's one where he finds a way to structure a deal, creating like a $40,000 asset essentially out of thin air, generating passive income without immediate tax hits. It shows how financial creativity can invent money much faster than just saving taxed income in a bank.
So financial intelligence allows you to play the game differently, more proactively.
Right. You're not just a pawn, you're learning to be a player.
The book distinguishes between two kinds of investors too, doesn't it?
Yeah. There's the investor who buys package investments, mutual funds, stocks through a broker, etc. Pretty standard.
Okay.
Then there's the second type, the more sophisticated investor who actively creates deals.
What skills do they need?
Three main ones, according to the book. One, finding opportunities others overlook, seeing value where others don't.
Like finding a hidden gem.
Exactly. Two, raising money. Not just going to a bank, but finding private investors, structuring creative financing.
So knowing how to get the capital.
Crucial. And three, understanding and organizing smart people, putting together the right team for a deal.
So it's more involved, more entrepreneurial.
Definitely. It's about building the whole deal, not just buying a piece of it.
This seems to connect to why the book stresses sales and marketing skills, which might seem odd for finance.
Yeah, it surprises people. He tells the story of meeting a brilliant writer who wanted to be a best-selling author but struggled. Rich Dad's advice was basically, learn to sell.
So great skills aren't enough. You need to communicate, persuade.
That's the argument. You could be the best investor or have the best product, but if you can't communicate its value, negotiate, or sell your idea to partners or customers, you limit your success. He says we're often one skill away from great wealth.
And that skill might be sales or marketing.
Or just better communication in general, being able to connect with people.
Okay. The book also tackles the big mental blockers, like fear of losing money.
Huge one. Everyone feels it, even the rich, the book says.
So it's not about not feeling fear.
No, it's about how you handle it. Do you let it paralyze you, or do you see potential failure as a learning opportunity? He uses remember the Alamo analogy, Texans lost, but used it as inspiration. Winners aren't afraid of losing, they learn from it.
Reframe failure as feedback.
Exactly. Don't let the fear stop you from even trying.
What about cynicism, that feeling of, oh, that'll never work, or that sounds like a scam?
Another big blocker. The book links it to fear and doubt. Cynics criticize and analyze, but often don't act. They dismiss opportunities without really looking into them.
Like the friend who missed a deal because his neighbor said it was bad?
Right. Based on uninformed opinion. Or people who won't look at something like tax lien certificates because it sounds complicated or risky, settling for tiny bank interest instead.
So cynicism costs you opportunities.
Yeah.
How do you fight it?
Be open-minded. Do your own homework. Don't let fear disguise as negativity stop you. And there's this interesting idea of I don't wants.
What's that?
Like if you say, I don't want to fix toilets, that might stop you from buying rental property. But the rich dad perspective is, okay, because you don't want to fix toilets, how can you structure it so someone else does? Find a good property manager. Your I don't wants can actually point you toward finding creative solutions.
Turn the objection into a problem to solve.
Exactly, like Colonel Sanders. Rejected over 1,000 times. But he didn't let the doubt stop him.
Incredible story. Okay, another obstacle. Laziness. But not just couch potato lazy.
Right. It's often the laziness of being too busy. People are busy, 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 but they're avoiding the important stuff, like working on their finances or maybe even their health or relationships because it feels hard or uncomfortable.
So they stay busy with less important things as an excuse.
That's the idea. And the antidote the book suggests is a bit counterintuitive. Pay yourself first.
We mentioned that earlier. Explain how it fights laziness.
You make saving and investing for your asset column the first bill you pay each month. Before the mortgage, before the credit cards.
Won't that create pressure if money is tight?
Yes. And that's the point. That pressure becomes motivation. It forces you to figure out how to cover your other bills, maybe find extra income, get smarter financially. It prevents you from just letting your financial goals slide because you're too busy or don't have enough left over.
So you prioritize your future, and the pressure forces resourcefulness.
That's the theory, makes your financial health non-negotiable.
Lastly, arrogance. How does that get in the way?
Arrogance is when you think you know it all. You close yourself off to learning because you're trying to protect your ego. You pretend to understand things you don't.
Blinds you to your own ignorance.
Exactly. And you can't learn if you think you already have all the answers. The book stresses humility. Be willing to learn from experts, read books, take classes, listen more than you talk.
Stay curious, stay
Yeah,
teachable.
absolutely essential for growth.
Okay, so we've covered the mindset shifts, the obstacles. The book ends with concrete action steps, 10 of them.
Yeah, it tries to give you a starting point. There is gold everywhere, it says. Most people are not trained to see it. These steps are about training yourself.
Let's hit a few key ones. Number one, find a reason greater than reality.
Basically, find your why. What's your deep motivation? Your dreams, what you want for your family, that's what pulls you through the tough times. It has to be bigger than the obstacles.
Okay. Number two, make daily educational choices.
Commit to learning something new about money every single day. Read an article, listen to a podcast like this one, watch a video. Small, consistent learning.
Three, choose friends carefully.
Surround yourself with people who are either already where you want to be financially or who support your goals. Avoid the cynics and doubters who drag you down. Learn from your network.
Four, master one formula, then learn a new one.
Don't try to do everything at once. Pick one investment strategy. Maybe small rental properties, maybe dividend stocks, learn it well, make it work, then add another strategy. Focus.
Five, pay yourself first. We covered that make saving investing the priority.
Crucial. Non-negotiable.
Six, pay your brokers well. Why?
Good advice is valuable. If you have good agents, accountants, advisors who are helping you make money, pay them fairly. It keeps them motivated to bring you good deals and information. Treat your team well.
Seven, be an Indian giver. What's that mean in investing?
It means focus on getting your initial investment capital back out of a deal as quickly as possible while still holding the asset. Reduces your risk. Like buying a property, refinancing to pull your down payment back out, but still owning the cash flowing property. Get your seed money back to reinvest elsewhere.
ROI, return on investment, but also return of investment.
Exactly. Minimize risk, maximize velocity of money.
Eight, use assets to buy luxuries. We talked about that. Let your investments pay for the fun stuff.
Right. Don't go into debt for luxuries.
Nine, choose heroes.
Find role models. Study successful investors like Warren Buffett or others. Learn how they think, how they analyze deals. Having heroes inspires you and gives you strategies to emulate.
And 10, teach and you shall receive.
When you teach something, you learn it more deeply yourself. Sharing what you learn reinforces it and often brings new opportunities and insights your way. Give value, get value.
So lots of actionable things there to just get started.
Yeah, the overall message is money starts as an idea in your head. Change your thinking, get educated, take action, and you can change your financial reality.
The book ends with that strong message. Learn to have money work hard for you. Today, don't play it safe. Play it smart.
And it briefly introduces the cash flow quadrant too. E for employee, S for self-employed, B for business owner, I for investor. Thinking about which quadrant you're in and which you want to be in.
Which ties into a bigger idea, doesn't it? Finding your path in life, not just financially.
Exactly. The book suggests your financial path should align with your deeper purpose. It quotes Thich Nhat Hanh, "The path is the goal." It's about the journey of becoming who you were meant to be, which requires more than just financial education.
Mental, physical, emotional, spiritual education too.
Yes, becoming a whole person. That's where true fulfillment comes from, which supports financial success too. The cash flow game even tries to incorporate some of that holistic learning.
So it encourages you to look inward, find what truly drives you.
Yeah, if you feel stuck or unfulfilled, maybe your current path isn't aligned with your true purpose. Search your heart, find your own unique way.
Okay, so wrapping up our deep dive into Rich Dad, Poor Dad, what are the absolute must-remember takeaways for our listeners?
Number 1, assets put money in your pocket, liabilities take it out. Focus relentlessly on acquiring assets. That's the core game.
Got it.
Number 2, financial education is your responsibility. Schools won't do it. You have to seek it out actively.
Okay.
3, shift from just working for money to making money work for you. Through investing, through business. Right.
And 4, recognize and overcome those mental blocks. Fear, cynicism, laziness, arrogance. Your mindset is key.
Excellent summary. So one final thought or challenge for everyone listening today. What's one thing they could do right now?
Okay, here's a simple but powerful one. Tonight, look at your bank or credit card statement. Pick one recurring expense. Ask yourself honestly, using the book's definition, is this contributing to an asset Or is it purely feeding a liability or consumption?
Just that one small analysis.
Just start there. That little bit of awareness, that simple question, can be the tiny spark that starts shifting your whole financial perspective. See where your money is really going.
Powerful. A great first step. We really encourage you to take that step, keep exploring these ideas from Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and see how they fit your own life and your own goals.
Absolutely. It's a journey.
Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive.